Eric DeGatti here from One Human Performance, and today we're going to talk about the cable chop exercise. This is an awesome rotational drill for all your rotational athletes, which is pretty much everyone, and works with us going across our body in the transverse plane. So let's start with setup. What I like to use is a long cable strap handle, and that way it won't dig into your arm and gives you a little bit more play. We're going to always reach across our body and stack the inside hand, so when we come across, we're driving with that inside top hand. That is going to mimic what we use in a baseball bat or a golf swing, where we're stacked with our hands like so. From there, we want to get into a good athletic position. That means the knees are unlocked, the hips are back, and I'm centered over the arches of my feet. When I grab the cable, I want to step out so the weight is off of the stack. From here, I'm going to learn to transmit force from my inside foot. So I'm going to learn to think of taking that floor and driving it towards the machine so I can use my ground force to get this thing going and then transmit from the foot through the hip and then finally out through the hand. This is not something you want to be using your hands for, because then you're muscling it from your arms. It should come up and through this chain. Okay, so now we have the cable in our hand. Arms are going to be locked straight because this should just be an extension of what's happening within here and all the way down to the floor. Once I'm set, as I said, I'm going to drive my inside foot into the ground. I'm going to drive the floor away, and I'm going to come across until it is completely across my body, and the cue I gave is that it lays in line with your arm. If I go any further, the resistance isn't fighting that. It's digging into my body, so I'm going to stop where I'm straight off. Okay, so that's why it's key that I'm perpendicular to the machine itself when I set it up. When I go back, I need to be able to turn my chest away so I can load up through here. If I don't do that, then I'm going to close off and I can't create any force if I'm here, because the only thing I have left is my arms. Another consideration is that most of us have a dominant rotational side, meaning that if I'm a right-handed hitter or golfer, I'm going to be more natural going from my right to my left than I am from my left to my right. What I generally will tend to do is start on the more unnatural side. That way we can start to train that pattern. It'll actually have some carryover to the actual sport-specific pattern. Plus, if there's any deficits, I can start to decrease that, because if this person is taking thousands of swings in one direction, we want to try to minimize the imbalances from right to left. Not that we're going to undo it if they're doing thousands of swings, but we want to try to minimize the damage. Another thing to watch for is to see the timing and sequencing of this. If the hands go first, chances are I'm muscling it from my shoulders. If I go here and my hips are already gone, I have nothing left except to use my arms and my shoulders. It should generate from the floor, push, and then it follows through, where you could see that came from the foot to the hip to the hand. If this is here, I have nothing left to go with other than my hand. If this goes here, then obviously I didn't use my hips at all. You need to see that fluid sequence where it drives, comes across, and then controls down. The cable chop is an awesome drill that I put as a staple in almost everybody's program in some variation. Now, with that, I can come up with multiple different versions of this. We can go and set the cable high and go from high to low. We can set it low and go from low to high. We can work all these different variations, and they all transfer really, really well for all your rotational athletes.